Speaking with Joe Marino, Common Council, City of Utica, last night, you walk away not feeling any differently on this Chief Brooks issue. You feel Chief Brooks is getting the short end of the stick. Yeah,
there's no doubt about it. I mean, again, this whole thing is unfortunate. You know, one of the things, Bill, that I wanted to mention was, some of the line of questioning was, when did you know that you were going to place him on leave? And, the answer that they got was 22 days prior to calling him in. They tried to backtrack on it. They said, we knew maybe about a week before. So we asked, when did you call him in? We called him in on a Thursday, and we let him go on a Friday. That was the day of the meeting. So, they gave him no advance warning. The whole thing just stinks. And, it's all in regard to getting this guy out who had no reason to be left alone.
Is it personal?
It's without a doubt. And I mean, it was evident last night that it's very personal. And there's really no place for that in the fire department. There's no place for that in the janitorial staff, let alone the chief of the fire department. I mean, anybody that's treated that way out of City Hall.
Yeah. All right, so Joe, I want to ask you this. Let's just cut to the chase here. Peter Fiorini passed away. Fiorello passed away. A great man that did great things for the city. You'd agree with that?
I couldn't agree more. He's the reason that our financial turnaround happened.
And the comptroller's office was not just allowed, but asked to continue to work right up until his final days. I hate to be talking about him and bringing him into this, but it's a fact. So why is this being treated differently? Well, accounting, you're not going to be fighting a fire. Well, the chief's position is an administrative position. He's not climbing ladders and going into a burning house. So why is this case different than Peter Fiorini?
Yeah, it's not, Bill. And I know you know that, and I know you're asking hyperbolically. I mean, but it's not different. Peter was a great man. Chief Brooks served, admirably for 42 years in the city, and he was marched out, and they can give it all the titles that they want. The fact is that by doing this just for ego, just for politics, they're leaving the city liable for safety hazard, for monetary liability, all for an effort to just take out a personal vendetta. And that was what we were trying to get the point across last night, that there's just no room for this kind of thing. And he was unwilling last night. I even gave him an opportunity to apologize and just say, look, you made a mistake. We understand. Just, why don't we end this now? You're here at the meeting. You made it. Let's end this now. Let's put the chief back on. You guys can figure out a better way to handle this. Do you feel you handled this the best way possible? And his answer was, absolutely, I handled it the best way possible.
And I do have to, again, ask the question, if, this is hypothetical, but we've talked about the fact that the chief and the mayor do not get along. And it's prior to the situation. And do not have a talking relationship, as a matter of fact, that the chief, when the mayor reached out to the fire department, he would reach out to the deputy. That's what we were told. And so I guess my question would be, if this were a different situation and the chief and the mayor were pals, would this be handled differently?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. The chief reached out, or the mayor reached out to the assistant chief. And the assistant chief, who is now currently acting in that position, I believe was meant to be all along. And that's the idea. I think this whole thing is about friends and family and politics, not about the chief's ability to do the job. And again, you're talking about a guy who has proven through numbers of experts that he can handle the job. And so by letting him go, you're putting the guy that you wanted in there, supposedly, you're putting him in a position to fail, because now he's got to handle two jobs. And by him failing, that means that our city is less safe. This is not, this isn't an accounting job. This doesn't mean that, one guy's handling a couple of more numbers or some more books.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about running massive. There was a house collapse the other day. West Utica is literally falling in on itself.
We have Andrew has a question, Manaski, and then I want to follow up with one final. So we'll move quickly here.
Yes.
Lightning round if we could, because I have the DA coming up, and we want to get into something that was brought up yesterday.
Just explain something. You said he was notified Thursday and then let go Friday. The story we heard originally was that he was brought into the office, had to submit keys for his city vehicle and his phone, maybe some other items as well.
And they say that's not true. None of that is true, that the chief is embellished that.
No, they confirmed it last night. He was called on Thursday to come into a meeting for Friday.
Okay.
Went into a meeting for Friday and was told to leave his keys, leave his car.
Okay.
And he was forced to find a ride home. Now, what they say was, and it's absurd in this ridiculous letter that they gave us, this question and answer, was that, he was told that Deputy Chief Noonan from the police department was willing to give him a ride home. He didn't have to go, quote-unquote, search for a ride. And, to that I said, you're joking.
And they also brought up the fact that maybe during an interview the chief said, basically I went in and I was told to empty my pockets and turn over this and turn over that, and I was left to go and find my own way home. So I think they picked on that because they specifically referenced the fact that it is ridiculous that we told him to empty his pockets. Well, again,
but essentially
I understand that, but it was meant more. It was meant more as
keys,
as
cell phone, things like that.
So quickly, Andrew.
One of the questions and answers is Assistant Fire Chief George Clark the acting chief and has his pay increased? They say no, but Deputy Chief Clark is receiving more money than he ordinarily would as just the deputy chief. Is that correct?
No, Assistant Chief Clark tried to get out of title pay, which means that he's doing more than he used to do, and he's acting in capacity of something more than he is. So he put in to try to get more pay. And what I think is was the plan all along was to try to have him get more pay, and it turned out civil service law allows him to not have that happen.
Right.
So the comptroller's office denied the pay.
Okay.
So he tried, and they denied it.
Okay. Finally, I just want to let's get out of the let's get into the weeds just a little bit and clear a few things out. Just one thing I want to know, and how did this whole thing roll out? Because I've talked to people on and off the record. I cannot find a single person close to the mayor that said, yep, we crafted this together, we worked on this together, and we did it together. No one seems to, and I'm telling you, I can't find anybody that's saying, I worked with the mayor on this.
No, I'll tell you
directly. So what I'm asking is this scenario that I keep hearing, that this was what the mayor wanted, he pushed for it, nobody told him no, he didn't share it with most of his staff, and that really what Corporation Counsel is doing right now is trying to prevent something worse and really trying to pick up the pieces. You tell me if that's true or if it's something else.
Yeah, I think it's true, and here's why. I asked him directly last night, I said, who and who with you made this decision to relieve the chief of his duties that particular day? He said, here we are. I said, who is we? And he pointed to his lawyers and the civil service girl. So I said, so you're telling me that Lawyer Robel and the lawyers and you sat down and determined he had to leave that particular day? He said, here they are again. So I said, Bill Borrell, you helped him make this decision. Is that what they're telling me? They completely turned around on him. They said, absolutely not. He did this on his own. We just gave him the legal ramifications to do it.
Okay,
so he did this completely on his own. They turned away from him yesterday at the meeting.
So then, therefore, the question would be, if this costs the city a lawsuit, it's already costing legal funds. It's already costing taxpayer dollars that didn't seem to need to happen. And there is no smoking gun that has been revealed to either you or the public, or will come out eventually once maybe the chief releases some documents. If there is no smoking gun and taxpayer dollars have been wasted, is this something that would be considered impeachable?
I haven't looked into it, but I can tell you right now that any mayor that costs the city money for frivolous political use should be.
Well, and because otherwise it's going to come back on personal, right? It's going to come back and make this personal. And if you're using taxpayer dollars to reach a personal goal, that's a real big problem.
I agree with you. Agree with you, and it's an investigative item that we should look into because I'll tell you right now, in everything that I've heard, and I've talked to the chief directly, I haven't looked at all his medical records, and I think it'd be a shame if he were bullied into giving them away because they will come out in court during his 207A process. I think that it would be a shame, but if it all comes out the way that he has claimed it will come out, and the fact that Dr. Silverman has given him now a physical. Now he had a physical. When they let him go, he was never seen physically by Dr. Silverman. Now he's been seen by Dr. Silverman, and even Dr. Silverman had said that he's more capable than he had originally thought just based on his medical record.
Yeah.
So if all that happens, there is absolutely an investigation that should happen on the mayor for what he's doing. Because, again, this isn't round one, Bill, by the way. And you've heard it over. This is 6 years of just constant political, poise and posturing.
Well, and speaking of 6 years, I have to say one of the things that would be worth looking into is precedence. How has this administration reacted to other people in similar positions? For instance, we talked about Peter Fiorello. Sorry. I normally will write his name down so I get it right. But again, I hate to keep bringing him in here, but there's some evidence of precedence in how the city reacted to someone who was, in this case, terminally ill. Are there any other cases that you can point to that how the administration acted towards this person versus towards the chief and who might have been in a similar medical situation? Worth looking into, I think. And, Joe, I appreciate you for hanging as long as you have, and you've been on the line for quite a while. So,
no, guys, don't worry about it. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Joe. We'll talk again soon.